journey of life, there are days we just don't feel good. There are moments in our lives that just don't feel good. To help us shift out of that and learn how to feel good no matter what, I want you all to help me welcome Alka Chopra. So, Alka, you have the power. There you are.
That was a lovely welcome, Jackie. Thank you so much.
Oh, it is lovely to see you. So,
how are you doing?
I am doing really well, and it is just delightful to be back in the room with you. Alka, this idea that we've put out there, I would love for you to explain to people just who you are and what you do so that they have some context for what we're going to talk about.
Sure, yes. So hi, everyone, and a good evening from Toronto. So I am in Toronto here. It's nice weather here. Today it was a little gloomy, but all good, as long as we don't get the snow. So I'm a dietitian and a certified diabetes educator, and I've been a dietitian for a really long time. It's probably over 25 years and probably about 18 years here in Canada. So it's been a long journey. It's been learning, like a lot of learning as you go. And where this feel good concept came into existence. So I see a lot of patients who are living with a chronic disease. So it could be diabetes, it could be arthritis, it could be hypertension, the whole shebang of chronic disease. So there, what happens is that, and the population that I work with very closely is, they are the very vulnerable population where they do not have life skills. Let's put it that way. So when we talk about feeling good is very closely related to life skills. And as I went along in my practice, yes, it was very easy for me to focus on diabetes, or because there's a whole, diabetes is huge, right? So you can just make a living of teaching people how to manage diabetes. It's not easy, but that could have been the natural route. However, my own personal interest, and that is the way I really live my life, is to not focus on just the medical condition, because diabetes is a medical condition. But what people don't realize is in the background, it's a burden too in your head. Because managing a medical condition is one thing. Now, that is actually an additional thing on top of the daily routines, the daily things that you do, whether you are teaching your children, whether you are doing a full-time job, whether you're taking care of the house, whatever it is. So medical condition is on top of that. Now, in that whole scenario, what I found was that people did not know literally how to take care of themselves.
Okay, so now in this case, you're not talking about taking care of themselves with their diet. You're talking about taking care of themselves, being able to handle the additional burden of having a chronic condition to manage.
Yeah. And again, not necessarily a chronic condition. I just gave you an example.
Okay.
Right? So everyone has a burden. Diabetes is one thing. So everyone has, as a person, as an individual, as a human being, you have your responsibilities towards your children, your husband, your family, your parents, whoever you are living with. And amongst all this, I think the first responsibility is your own responsibility to yourself, which a lot of people tend to ignore.
Well, right? I won't argue with that one.
Yeah. So that is, and all those things come with life skills.
Okay.
So, yeah. So when I kept noticing this for quite some time, and then I noticed, I said, yeah, you know what? There is a gap over here. So some people don't know. So when I ask people, if I'm talking to a patient and I ask them, okay, you know what? Tell me about your self-care routine, or tell me something about how do you take care of themselves. So the instant response is, you know what, Alka, I don't have money to go and spend at the spa. I don't even have the time to spend 3 hours at the spa, or I do not have that money to go for a destination vacation. Well, you can go anyways right now, but when everything was normalized, or it will normalize in the next few years, and next little bit, I'm hoping so that is really a myth, that to really have a kind of a self-care type lifestyle, you need to spend lots and lots of dollars.
So, okay, so the myth is that it's not about the money.
No, the myth is that it is all about the money.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. I had it backwards. So,
Yeah. The myth is it's all about the money.
so self-care and money are not connected.
They are not connected at all.
Got it.
Yeah, there is really, it's really really understanding and focusing on your own needs and really recognizing. That's also a skill, right? Recognizing and acknowledging that, yes, I need help, or I need to take care of myself, right? So you need to really pay attention to your own needs. And now, how do you do that? So in my mind, so again, when doing all this research, I came across an article by the World Health Organization on life skills. Okay, so life skills is something that we learn as we grow older, as we comprehend things around what's going on in our lives. So there are 10 life skills that the World Health Organization really lists. And so there won't be time to go over each one of them, but I'll just mention them. So they are problem solving, there's creative thinking, there's self-awareness, there's interpersonal relationships, management of stress, there's decision making, there's critical thinking, empathy, good communication, and management of emotions. So if you think of these 10 skills, they are life skills which really help you to make your life better, feel better, feel good. Because if you are able to master these skills, the quality of your life changes. And so as the title of the present of what I'm talking about is how to feel good no matter what. Life is not perfect, Jackie. We know that, right? It is not a straight line.
Yeah, definitely not.
So you need to really equip yourself with those skills so that when the time comes where you are in a situation of stress, or something that is an unhappy thing happens in your life, you are able to manage that properly. That's what life skills is like all about. And then how do you get to those life skills? That's where the wellness pillars come into picture.
Got it. Okay, because I was going to say, these are pretty big life skills. I mean, when you're talking problem solving and you're talking critical thinking, these are not simple skills to learn.
No.
They can each one be a whole body of study. As a matter of fact, I found my textbook on critical thinking not too long ago. It was a whole body of work. So we may need to develop all of these life skills, but I need the Cliff Notes version. Of how to do it.
Yes. So the Cliff Note version really is, so it is the pillars of wellness. So there are 8 pillars of wellness that I teach my patients, and my practice is really based on that. So the 8 pillars are, and when I read out when I share the pillars, you will see that there is an interconnection between the pillars of wellness and this life skills that I just mentioned to you. Okay, so should I start? Here we go.
Yeah. Before you do, though,
yeah,
let me just ask you a couple of really quick questions just to make sense of this in my brain. Because you started out saying you work primarily with vulnerable population. Yeah. What is that? What is a vulnerable?
Vulnerable population could be that their education level is low. They have no job. They're living on social assistance, right? So they have no, or they are living, they are dependent on maybe their children for even the money. Their financial status is very low. They're living in kind of, homes or maybe in a very unsafe neighborhood. Now just the population that I work with now. I don't
I
let's see
want you
here.
to attach to that because it's not that these pillars are only for them.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. So that is the population I primarily work with. However, these things, the life skills could be missing in somebody who is a top-notch executive as well,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
absolutely. Stress management is often missing among
Exactly,
people
right?
who are top
Problem
executives.
solving skills, right? All those things. So there are lot of times you see people in a different role when they are in the professional situation. However, when you look at their home front, it is a complete opposite,
Yep.
right? I've seen that as well in my practice too, where they're excellent workers and in their workplace. However, if you look in their relationships, their interrelationships, it's nowhere, not even existing.
Got it.
Their
That makes,
mental health, emotional health is really poor.
okay.
So that is why the life skills and the pillars of wellness is kind of a match, where if you are able to get a hang of, or you're able to master the pillars of wellness, the 8 pillars of wellness, when you do a little bit of research, you'll find some places will give you 10, some will give you, 7, some will give you 5, but I go by the 8 because it really encompasses everything that, in my judgment, requires to live a good life, feel good, have a fulfilled life, and you have a purpose in life. These things are so important, right? You might be think some people might think, oh my God, what do I do? What am I doing? I have no purpose. There is nothing. I'm getting bored. I have nothing to do. So sometimes I really wonder, oh, really? Have you even thought of what purpose? Have you even thought a bit deeper than going to a 9 to 5 job, coming home, eating food, sleeping? Life is way more than that.
So it's a perspective that's missing
It is,
on what life really is
yes.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That,
And that really dictates how you live your life.
okay. So if someone has the perspective of there is more to life than the activities, what's the benefit of that? What does that add to their life?
Yeah. So before I go into that, adding to their life, so I just want to mention the wellness pillars and everything will kind of
Okay.
fall into place. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
when we talk of wellness, we are talking of focusing on you, on like Alka focuses on Alka, Jackie focuses on Jackie, for you, with you as a whole person,
Mm-hmm.
and not Jackie as a person who does only podcasts, or Alka works as a dietitian. It's not that. I'm looking at myself as a whole person. So what are my needs? So I have emotional needs. Everyone has emotional needs, right? Not just me. So
Okay.
that is really how am I able to cope effectively with life, and I create satisfying relationships. So I'm managing my emotions, right? So when I'm talking to people, someone is getting angry at me, I know how to manage my emotions. That's again the life skills coming into picture. Then there is a financial piece. So I have enough money to maybe go, maybe to buy the daily my weekly groceries, have good food. Maybe if I want to go and watch a movie, I have money to go watch a movie, or a small vacation. I have money to do that, to have all the needs that I have. So I need money that is enough to meet my financial needs. Like I have a house to stay in, that's the financial piece. Then it is a social piece. Everyone defines social peace differently. For some people, it might be going out for a cup of coffee with a friend, right? Or it could be maybe the social support system. Some people have a really support. Like I'll give you mine. So I'm very fortunate that I have a very strong social support system.
What is a social support system in this context?
The social support system is your family who is Tomorrow, if I'm in kind of a need, I can go and tell my husband that, you know what, I need this. So he's there to do, he's there standing behind my back
Got it.
when I need him. Right? When I need him, I know I have this unending faith that, you know what, something, if Alka, you are on the road, something happens to you, the first person you'll call is your husband. That's my case. However, it could be somebody else. Right?
Got
So
it.
my parents also standing, so that my siblings. So I have all these social support systems around me. Some people might be having a really good friend where they can pick up the phone in the middle of the night that I'm in trouble. Right? So years ago, I had a fracture. I had a really nasty fracture, but I broke my ankle. And there was no one here. It was at 8 a.m. in the morning, January, winter, no one on the street. My husband was not in town, only my daughter was here. So I had a friend who I called, and she came right away in minutes. So that's what I called. So it was really nasty, and I'm still recovering from that. It was in 2017 I had it, and now it's 2021. So I'm still not 100%. It's never going to get 100%, but I know that if I have a friend, family, they will come. So that is my social support system. And everyone's could be different. It could be your neighbor.
Right. But it is a need. It is a psychic need to know that we're not alone.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of people feel lonely. They feel lonely because the social support systems are very weak.
Got it.
Right. Then the next one is spiritual. So spiritual is meaning that you have a purpose and you have a meaning in life. That's what I was talking to before. Right. So where you have like, why are you doing this show?
Yeah.
Right. So you want to bring about awareness of, so the show is suicide prevention. So you want to bring about awareness amongst people that how can we minimize the risk?
Well, and it's interesting that you bring that up under spiritual and meaning. When I first started hosting a summit, my reason for hosting a summit was to build my business. So it had a purpose, but it didn't have a spiritual meaning attached to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's very different doing this one. There's almost no stress doing this one because I'm on purpose. So I know I can't do it wrong. It's whatever it is going to serve in some way, shape, or form.
Correct.
And that does come from the fact that it has meaning.
Yes.
It serves my mission in the world to make teen suicide a thing of the past.
Yeah. So that's a spiritual piece. Then there's the occupational piece, right? Occupational means that you are getting satisfaction and you feel enriched from the work that you do. Okay, whether you are working at home, you might be a housewife, but you need to have satisfaction from the work that you do in the house. If you are doing a job or if you're doing a business, whatever it is, you are having that is the occupation. And occupation can be anything. It could mean different things for different people. It could be volunteering. For some people, volunteering is the occupation. They volunteer like 8 hours in a day, and they volunteer every single day of the week. So for them, that is the occupational satisfaction that they are getting from there. Then there's the physical. Yeah, the physical needs really is pretty straightforward. There's your physical activity, your sleep, and nutrition. So all those come under the physical wellness. And then is the intellectual wellness. Intellectual wellness is all to do with learning. So that is you're learning something new and you're willing to learn something new on and off to continually build your and even expand your knowledge and your skills. If you really think of it, there is a lot to learn in this world. And you don't always have to spend money.
Well, especially in this day and age. I mean, we have almost unlimited access to facts, but it's not always easy to tell what's fact and what's fiction now.
Right. So that is where, again, the life skills come into picture, making the right judgments, like what is going to work for me, right? So that is the intellectual, because if you are constantly in that learning mode and you are constantly challenging your brain, you will think more rationally, because when you learn, you open so many doors. But if you live in a tunnel, the tunnel will keep you just this way.
Yeah.
But if you
Learning,
open, yes.
yeah, learning something new. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And then finally is the environmental. So environmental could be whether you are living in, in whatever kind of neighborhoods that you are living in, or even the environment could also be your own work environment. If you're working in a toxic environment, if you have negative people around you, that is the environment that you are. So you need to recognize that, okay, that I'm in a toxic environment. I need to get out from here. So all these, so so again, very quickly, that's emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental. So all these pillars of wellness really are something that as a human being, you need to focus and give yourself the priority. So you need to give yourself the importance of being you.
Okay.
Only then, and then once you take care of all these wellness pillars, the life skills automatically fall in place.
Got it. Okay. So now I get the connection between the two. So thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. So the life skills, like I said, some of those are really, really big topics like critical thinking. It's a whole lesson in and of itself,
Yes.
a whole,
Yes.
learning curve and college courses.
Yeah. But critical thinking, if you think critical thinking comes if you take care of your intellectual wellness.
Got it.
Right?
So now I understand how the pillars are the preamble that make all of those life skills easier to learn. As a matter of fact, you learn a lot of them just doing the pillars.
Correct.
Okay, so cool. So I've got this concept. What difference is it making when you're working with someone and they're coming in and they don't have the life skills or they don't have all of them or many of them, and they start working with the pillars? Can you share a story of what
Yes.
this actually, sort of, who were they, what was going on in their world when they first met you?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I was doing a stress management class to a group of men. And men are a very different kind of population, right? They are completely, their mindsets are different. And this group of men that I was working was that they were having some challenges in getting child custody. So they were, they were either divorced or there was problems with their partners, and there was custody battles that was happening. It was through the children's society. I forget what it's called. It's been a few years ago. So during that, I was talking to them about these pillars of health, and then I asked them to do an activity. So I said to them, I said, okay, here's a grid of paper, which is from the dollar store. Take this paper grid paper, and here are some crayons, again from the dollar store. So they were looking at me like, okay, what is she going to ask us to do? So I said, okay, now on this paper, pick up your favorite color crayon. I don't care whichever it is, red, blue, pink, purple, whatever. Just draw, don't even think anything. Just draw any shape, a simple circle, a flower, a leaf, a star, or just an irregular shape, whatever it is. And they were like, okay, we've never done anything like that. We've never even drawn a square. I said, okay, trust me, listen to me, go for it, go for it. Anyway, they drew that. I said, okay, now the next step you do is I'm going to give you only 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, I want you to color the grid, the small squares, in any kind of color of your choice. You want to use multiple colors, you want to use single colors, you want to use two colors, I don't care. Just do it. And they said, we don't know, we have no idea of color and art. We have never, this is art. I said, this is not art. This is one of the it's a skill. And what is art? Art is really a mishmash of colors and some mediums and mixed media. And what else is art? So they said, you'll judge. I said, I'm not judging you. I'm not even looking. I'll walk out of the room. So there was a lot of hesitation. I said, okay, just do it. So anyway, they started doing it. And Jackie, within 5 minutes, there was not a single person in the room who was lifting their head, because they got so engrossed in doing that activity and they were enjoying it. I could see that they were trying to think, okay, what color can I put over here? Some of them had a leaf shape, some of them had a star shape, and they were really enjoying it. After 15 minutes, I had to tell them to stop. Said, okay, now I need to finish the session. So you really need to, and then so it was hard. They said, can I just finish this? That you're welcome to take the colors home, whatever, and you can finish it at home. I'm just short on time right now. It was only 15 minutes. So, and then I asked them after that, how do you feel? Said, well, the thing is that when they were doing it, they were so much engrossed. And when they finished the activity, it was very refreshing for them. So they had never done anything of this kind in their life. And it was very refreshing for them. And at those 15 minutes, it felt really nice and calming as well, where they were focusing on themselves and what they were enjoying themselves with the color.
Got it.
So many stories like this I have, but people are very hesitant. I teach painting as well, and I teach people who have never even picked up a brush.
It is getting them outside of their comfort zone
Yeah.
into anything that gives them expression is
Right.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So really, so when you start to focus on your own needs, you start to give yourself that importance. And I'm going to say you need to give yourself that 15 minutes to 30 minutes of importance every single day. In
Cool.
that 12 in the 24 hours, maybe, okay, you're sleeping for 7-8 hours, you're awake for maybe 10-12 hours. In that 10-12 hours, you can easily find 15 minutes to 30 minutes which are just for you. That's your me time.
So it's an interesting thing that we struggle so much with this in different aspects of the culture. It's
Right.
like, yeah, no problem. And then if it doesn't get put on my calendar, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's also, in my mind, that is a dependency on the calendars, right? So it is okay that this is the 15 30 minutes. Let's 30 minutes. I would actually not shy to say 1 hour every day. But I'm pretty sure maybe the people who are on the call right now, they might, I don't know if they want to jump in and say, if I ask you this question, that are you able to put in 1 hour of time in an entire day for yourself? Would you say yes or no? So I would like to hear from people.
Well,
What
as they are putting their answers in there, I'm going to have you qualify this just a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Because time just for myself could be the time that I, fix myself some food, take a shower. That is time for myself. But I get the feeling that might not be what you mean here.
Yes, and it could be 1 hour for anything. There is no, I'm not saying you need to do a particular thing, but that 1 hour is just for you, whether you want to read a book, whether you want to watch a movie, whether you want to do some painting, whether you want to go for a walk, whether you want to just close the door and dance. That's not the point. It is that 1 hour where you are focusing on you yourself. Because what happens is when you do that, you are giving yourself the value, you're giving yourself that importance of you being a human being. I hear it so much from my patients that I have no time for myself. I am running errands all day for my family and I have no time for myself. And it frustrates me at the end of the day that I have done nothing. Now, what you have to remember is that if you want to give time to yourself, it has got to be intentional. Yeah, so somebody said, singing in the car when running errands, okay. perfectly fine. Whatever works for you in your schedule. Now, I am not undermining. Sometimes, when you have young children, it is very hard. You've got to take the kids to the hockey game, you've got to take the kids for their art class, whatever. It becomes different. And I completely understand. I've been through that. My kids are older now. I have a 28 and a 23-year-old, but I've been through that life stage too.
Yeah. Well, and now I don't have any young kids at home, but I have a mission.
Exactly.
So my time can easily be
Yes.
filled up with the activities
Yes.
that go along with having the purpose in my life, having a mission.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting point to look at as far as what would constitute me time. And I think you're right. It's going to be different for everybody.
It would be different for everybody.
Yeah.
It could be even as small as paying attention to the amount of water you drink in a day.
Yep.
Right? So that is your own need. So it is, so again, the life skills, the wellness pillars, all these things will help you recognize what your personal needs are. And once you recognize, you will intentionally find ways to fix them or do something to make a change. If you see that, or you know what, I'm not drinking enough water, for example, you need to be more conscious as, okay, how do I figure out a way where I am drinking enough water? Whether you get a bottle and you put rubber bands on it, right? With every time you finish 1 ounce or 1 cup, whatever, you take rubber band off.
Ah, there you go.
Right? Or you want to have a tracker on the wall. So
Okay.
it could be as little as this. The point I'm trying to make over here is that with these pillars and the life skills, it's critical that you give yourself that importance. I cannot stress in that enough, because if you don't do that, nobody will.
Not something that somebody else could do for me.
Yeah. No.
I get that.
Yeah. So you really have to be responsible for your own needs, your own health, and nobody will take care of you if you don't take care of yourself. Again, not support systems are all there. I'm not, again, not undermining your family who takes care of you, but at the end of the day, you know your needs the best. And that is where the life skills come into picture. And when, when a situation comes up where you really need to stand strong, you are strong, you're strong-willed, you know what to do, you know how to navigate your way. So that's going back to how to feel good no matter what, because life is not perfect.
Got it. So how to feel good no matter what is about putting yourself into your life.
Yeah.
Because
and it's not selfish.
No, I think that self-centered got a bad rap.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm not in the center of my own life, whose life am I living?
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm very much aware that I had to come to some version of this, but I haven't ever really thought about the time commitment in this way of, am I willing? And so that's my question for myself now around this exercise is, am I willing to decide that an hour a day invested in myself is the best way to invest an hour?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you can start small, 1 hour is sometimes too much to ask. You don't have to do that 1 hour in one stretch. It could be 15, 15, 15. It could be 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, it does not have to be. However, when you are sleeping, when you get into bed at night, when your head touches the pillow, that is the time that all these thoughts really go on in your head.
Okay, that's not my experience. So but it sounds like it's a lot of other people's experience.
It is a lot of it. So they say that all good ideas come either when you're in the shower,
Okay,
or when you're driving, or all these thoughts also come when you are about to sleep, because at that time your brain, your body is trying to relax and you are rested. You're trying to rest. There's nothing else happening around you. So what your brain becomes really active.
Got it. No distractions. So you're
Exactly.
aware of the activity.
Yes. So it is at that time, a lot of people will say that, oh, I cannot sleep at night because these things bother me.
Again, yeah, that's not my issue, but I hear that complaint. So
Yes.
what do you recommend if somebody does have the issue of the thoughts bothering them when they put their head on the pillow?
Yeah, so a few things that people can try. So for some people, again, everyone is different. So obviously you've got, at the end of the day, got to figure out what works for you. But a few ideas that I'll throw out over there is, some people like to write down their journaling. Journaling is something very simple. Whether you journal on a piece of paper, in a book, and I'm going to say get a pretty notebook. Don't just get any kind of notebook, the Hilroy ones with a ugly cover. No, get a pretty notebook, get a nice pen. So when you are even doing that, a nice a nice, you get so many journaling books these days, some really nice. Or if you get a hardbound notebook, you go to YouTube, you'll find so many ways of decorating a journaling book. Come on, take that effort. Whether it means just taking a piece of paper and painting just some watercolors on it, but make it pretty. Something that you would like to go to. You can even get sketchbooks in which you can actually make some journaling backgrounds.
Got it. Okay.
So make it look pretty so that it is something that you will I'm going to say you will enjoy looking at. You will even enjoy writing into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way of doing it. The other thing that is my personal favorite is meditation. Okay, so I will meditate. I'm going to say 3 out of 5 days in a week. I used to do it before every single day, but lately it hasn't been happening. So when it comes to meditation, it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So because a lot of people think that meditation is something, I feel like a fool. Well, that's because probably you feel like you need to know how to meditate. So
Yeah,
for meditation, yeah.
there's some techniques that work for me and don't work for me. And I actually struggled with meditation to the point that I took up Tai Chi. And I
Mhm.
realized that the Tai Chi was for me a moving meditation once
Perfect.
I mastered the movements. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So this is just sleeping into bed, and while when you're getting into bed. So for some people, some patients, and actually I was reading also that you can actually do some live yoga in bed. That's also sort of meditation where you're doing some movements with your legs, with your hands. But the meditation the one that I do is obviously lying down still and really focusing on my breath. So there's a technique called as 4 square breathing. So for 4 square breathing, all you need to do is to just, when you're lying down, you take in your breath, you're counting till 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you hold your breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, and release. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you do. Some people might say, okay, you know what? It's very difficult to stop my thoughts. Well, the reality is your thoughts will never stop.
This is true. But if I am focused on my breathing, then
Exactly.
it really doesn't matter because I'm focused over here.
Right. So think of your thoughts like waves,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like waves, or if you're standing by the sea or by the ocean, the waves will come and go. They will come and go. So your thoughts are similar to that. So even if those thoughts come in your mind, focus back on your breathing.
Easy.
Okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can start breathing. When you do the 4 square breathing, you can start focusing on your toes. Start from bottom up. Focus on your toes, four square, and it's a 4 square breathing that works all through. Then focus on your heels, focus on your thighs, focus on your knees, and keep going body, your stomach, your upper area, your shoulders, your head, your eyes, your ears, everything. So so that way what's happening, it really, the more you do it, your body, you will actually notice that your body begins to relax.
So
And
retraining the body.
Yeah. And before you know, you are really going off to sleep. So for a beginner, on again, YouTube is my favorite. So on YouTube, I usually find a video, like a guided meditation one, generally speaking, where they're really telling you what to do. And in that, there are many videos which will talk about this kind of breathing techniques. So just follow that. And it really works. It really, really works very well.
Oh, absolutely. I am a big proponent of relaxation techniques, and guided imagery is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful piece that allows for awarenesses to come up.
Correct.
And if somebody, I think, is struggling with, my needs, what would my needs be? This kind of guided imagery, 4 square breathing, I love that, by the way. That was lovely. So allow space for you to possibly become aware of your.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's one thing. And for some other people, they just like to, so some of my patients, and I've talked to them, is that what they'll do is they will have, a kind of, any kind of object, which can be a sort of source of strength for them. So it could be a stone. It could be anything. It could be maybe your favorite pen, or anything that you can find, that you think has a meaning and a purpose, that you can get some meaning and purpose from that. So for some people, they will just hold it in their hands when they get into bed. They will hold it in their hands, lie down, and just think of 5 ways that, or 5 things that you can be thankful of what you have. But you need to have that piece in that piece of, so for me, it was, I had this is also, I tried that a few years ago. I had a really pretty pyrite stone with me. It was very sparkly, and it was really pretty. So that was really nice for me. So I kept that beside my bedside, and I used to put that in my hand, and I did that.
got it. It is so critical, and I'm really glad you brought this up. The grounding it physically of these practices, so that the body, the muscle memory can come into play.
Right.
It improves the ability of your body to absorb them.
Right.
I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about the gift that you have for everyone, because it's amazing. What we've been talking about really is what you're guiding everybody through in your gift.
Yes.
Is your self-care plan.
Right. Yeah. So the gift that I have is, it's a very simple, like it's a PDF sheet where I talk to you about some myths of self-care, and I've talked to you, there's a little bit on the the World Health Organization skills that I mentioned to you, the life skills and the wellness pillars. And then I also talked to you about the connection between the two. Then within that PDF, it takes you also to, there is an online course that I designed. It is called as 1 Week to Your Health.
Okay.
So when I'm saying 1 week to your health, so the whole concept is that you pick one change or one activity, focus on it for 1 week. Do it every single day and see how you feel.
There we go. Simple. I like simple. I like simple and easy to implement.
Yes.
And the value of having a guidebook that says, okay, this is how you build a self-care plan for yourself.
Yes.
It's not a skill that was taught growing up. It's not something that I was exposed to.
Right.
It wasn't discussed in the same way. I mean, yeah, self-care was just, make sure you wash your hair. Yeah. I mean, brush your teeth,
Yeah.
on a really basic level, that was all that was included. It
Yeah.
was only when I went into studying stress management that I got any of this exposure.
Right.
And for getting this message out into the world, because Alka, these are the pure prevention skills that
Right.
provide a buffer
Yeah.
between people and the edge.
Right.
The more you are doing self-care, the less likely you are ever going to need to be talked off a ledge.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you so very much for bringing that to us.
The only thing I will say is that this is not so living a self-care type lifestyle. It's
Mhm.
not a one day, it's not a 1 week thing. It's not like cooking a recipe that you put a few ingredients together and voila, you have your chicken curry or your vegetable. It's not like that. You have got to literally ingrain it into your life, literally into your lifestyle. Lifestyle changes are not easy to make, right? So you've got to get into the habit. That's where the 1 week to your health really comes into picture, where you take in all the wellness pillars, all the skills, and then you put it into 1 week. So you go slowly. And the more you do it, the more you get better at it. And when time comes, you are prepared. You cannot say that, okay, last week I did self-care. Or, you know what, Alka, I did self-care last week. I'm prepared today. No, you're not. It's
What,
not like that.
well, and you bring up a really good point. It's like, if I want to be physically strong, I'm not going to go to the gym one time and go,
Right.
there, I'm done. My
Exactly.
muscles are good for a lifetime.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So
So you
this
have
sounds
to,
like it's like that.
yes. So, and that is exactly what I teach. So, in May, I'm looking at the time. I hope we're okay with time. So in May of this year, I had organized a summit. It was called as I Feel Good.
Mhm.
And Jackie, the amount of engagement, the concept was very simple. I feel good. A question we ask, when we meet people, how are you? And people say, I'm good. But are you really good? It's a very loaded question. Think about it.
Mhm.
So that's where the whole concept came into, and all these pillars and everything came into. So in that we had some demonstrations on arts, crafts. We had physical activity. We had yoga. We had sustainability. So everything over there, and it was so much fun. And people were like, "Oh wow, this is something that I would never have tried on my own." So I'm
Got
going to make that as an annual event. Every year it will be. So if people are really wanting to know and get a bit more as to about these events or something, so it's my website as well. That's the best place you can find me.
Well,
It's,
I'm sure that once they get your guide, that
yeah,
they
they
will
will
have
know. Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the ability to keep us informed about what it is that you're doing,
yeah,
because that's part of the beauty
yes,
about being connected through events like this,
yes.
is that now if you want more, you know how to get it. You know where to find people.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
And
just, again, it's not a 1 day job. It's something you have to continuously keep doing, keep grooming yourself and make yourself stronger, depending whichever life stage you are at, whether you're a teenager, whether you are in your 20s, 30s, 50s, 80s, it does not matter.
making the commitment
Yes.
to a self-care lifestyle. I love
Yeah.
the way you language that.
Yeah.
So this is the invitation to
Yeah.
everyone on the show, everyone watching the recording, is, are you willing to make a commitment to a self-care lifestyle? And if you want some help with that, or you're not even sure what it is, grab Alka's gift, the
Yeah.
building your self-care plan with the 8 pillars of wellness.
Right.
So that link is there for everyone in the chat. And I just really appreciate you coming on and sharing this with all of us, Alka. That's lovely.
One last thing that I want to just very quickly add is, Jackie, is that when you do all that we talked about, all this, the goal here is to have a positive self-to-self relationship.
Okay, so now you've opened a can of worms for my brain. A positive what relationship?
Self-to-self relationship.
Oh, got it. Okay. So
Right?
yes,
Everything is connected. I know I'm throwing in a lot of words and a lot of concepts, but that is the whole idea, that when you have a good relationship with yourself, you value yourself, you take care of yourself, it leads into a positive self-to-self relationship, and that makes life way more purposeful, way more meaningful, and you are able to even give to people as well. When you give to people, it is so satisfying.
So there we go. A self-to-self relationship that is healthy and strong is
Positive self-to-self relationship.
a positive self relationship would be healthy and strong.
Absolutely.
And it would be the basis for being able to give to others.
Correct. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Beautiful thought. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I hope everyone stays well. Take care of yourself. Do make a solid self-care plan and start small. It doesn't have to be big. It can be really, really small. And before you know it, you will see that your life will actually begin to change. Less is more. Remember that.
All right. So now, if less is more, and you can start small and you have a plan, look in the show notes for the link so that you can start building your plan.
Right. Perfect.